Hi everybody, my name is Ken McKim. If you haven't seen any of the videos on my channel here, Casual Coffee with Ken, I do a live stream show on weekdays from 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, but that's not why I'm here today. Today I'm here to explain a concept that seems to just baffle the politicians who are crafting all of this COVID-19 relief. They don't seem to fully get it. And I want to explain to any of them who might actually end up watching this video. I don't have any hopes that they will, but in case one or two of them do, I want to explain to you why you absolutely have to not only postpone rent for the next 3 months, but you have to eradicate it. You have to forgive it completely. You cannot ask renters to be responsible for paying this rent back to their landlords. It's inconceivable that you don't get this out of the gate, but I'm going to try with very simple numbers to explain to you why it's completely unreasonable for you to even think that this would be possible for the average renter. Okay, so here we go. So let's say you were fortunate enough to make $525 a week net at the time that you lose your job due to COVID. So that's lucky, but let's say that's what happens. Let's also say that you have $1,000 in savings when you lose your job. Okay, let's say that your final check then, and you're living paycheck to paycheck like most working Americans, your final check is $525 plus the $1,000 you have in savings, so you're starting off this whole thing with $1,525 in the bank. So now let's say that you manage to qualify for the maximum unemployment in Nevada, which is, as of July of 2014, $407 a week. So already you're going to be making less than you were previously. So you've been told now that for the next 3 months you're not going to have to pay rent. So in that case, let's take 3 months of unemployment at the maximum rate, the weekly rate of $407. For 3 months, it's 12 weeks. That gives you $4,884, and you have the $1,525 in your savings, so you have a total for the next 3 months of $6,409 to work with. So if you take that $6,409 and divide it by 3 months, that leaves you with an operating budget of $2,136 a month. So now you had $2,136 in the bank. You have to take out $756 for your car expenses. You are down to $1,380 a month now for the next 3 months. Okay, you might still be able to pull this off. What is considered a moderate bill for 2 people for food consumed at home, $618 for the month. And that's for 2 people, not a family of 4. Your average cable bill is around $99. I know here in Reno it's more than that, just for basic cable, without any special channels like HBO. But regardless, well, we're trying to make this as easy as possible. So out of the $1,380 you have left, you now have to subtract for food and cable another $717. So now you're down to $663 a month for the next 3 months. You also have an electric bill. That hasn't gone away. Electricity and heat. On average in Nevada, monthly electric is $102. Monthly gas, $54, so you're looking at around $156 a month on average. So you take that $663, you subtract your electricity and heat bill of $156, you're down to $507 a month. This money is going fast. So if you were lucky, you can save about $1,500 over the next 3 months with these expenses. Some legislators want you to pay back the rent that you've missed over those 3 months. The average rent here in Reno is $1,269 a month for a little over 850 square feet of space. It's about a 1-bedroom. If you did manage to save up $1,500 over the last 3 months, okay, 3 months is up, your rent is now due. So $1,269, that means out of the $1,500 that you saved up, you're down to $231, and all of your other expenses for the rest of the month will still be due. So now you go back and you look at all those expenses that you were paying while you didn't have to pay rent, $1,629 a month, and now you have to pay your normal rent on top of that. So that's $1,269 in rent, remember. Somehow, you're supposed to be able to repay 3 months of rent while covering all those other expenses. So 3 months of rent, or here in Reno, this is specific to Reno, $1,269 for 3 months is $3,807 that you somehow have to pay back on top of your current rent and all of your other bills. So is that at all reasonable? It's not, because you know what I left out? I left out your cell phone bill. If you're back to work, maybe those numbers get a little bit better. But if you're still on unemployment, you're kind of trapped in that fixed income. If you do go back to work, remember, if you've got kids, if you're a family of, 3 or 4, you've got to pay for daycare for those kids. So it's not like you're going to have extra money when you go back to work. A lot of whatever you're going to be making is going to go towards childcare costs again, if you're lucky enough to get a job before your unemployment runs out. And this is where I think the legislators have seemingly forgotten what reality looks like. If you think back to the 2008 crash, the 2008 recession, where so many people lost their houses and so many companies ended up laying people off. Yeah, did those companies hire an equal number of the workforce back once things had stabilized and they started making money again? No. The people who were lucky enough to still be employed were given a lot of extra work and no extra money to do it. I think that when you look at it with a clear mind and you look at the actual numbers, it's fairly easy to see that asking renters to repay the 3 months of rent they're being told they are no longer responsible for, but to expect them to somehow pay that back at the end of those 3 months is ridiculous. Where do you think that money's going to come from? The average citizens of this country, you and me, can't just pull money out of our ass. We can't print money just because we think we need a little bit extra. You know who can is the federal government. The federal government that just a couple of weeks ago injected over $1 trillion into the stock market. And you know what it did? Nothing. It made a difference for all of 15 minutes before the market tanked. Again, this is not our fault in any way. It is the fault of a government that did nothing for weeks. To my state senators, state legislators here in Nevada, the only moral option open to you is to wipe the slate clean for their rent. They should not have to pay that back, because there's no reasonable way for the average American worker to be able to afford to do that in any reality. That's my rant. Thank you for watching. And everybody, remember, take care of each other. And if you have a chance to show kindness to another human being, do it. Because kindness absolutely matters now more than ever. Thank you for watching. Take care.